No, antivirus.
Which is how we start all of our lives.
Yeah. By something falling down or something going horribly wrong. Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Also, my phone just said, go live on YouTube.
Job done.
And here we are. I'm going to test this link that I send out and see if it actually... It is! Look.
Hooray.
Ha! I understand technology. I'm a genius. Okay, you're guarding our privacy.
Cool.
You can be in charge of that label warning thing over there.
Hello, hello, hello.
How are you this morning?
I'm all right. I have a very large cup of coffee. That's good.
I have tea.
That's nice. Yeah, I'm okay. It's a long weekend. That's nice.
It is a long weekend. It is a long weekend that is... I don't know. I kind of forgot that there was a long weekend, so I've spent most of yesterday feeling bad because you were going to have to go back to work. And then I didn't really remember that you wouldn't have to go back to work until like midnight.
I do not.
And it was too late.
It's...
You did get the time right, Mary. And look, you have a hat as a prize. That is your prize. I'm sorry, he's a bad prize. He's walking away. Bank holidays are only a thing in the UK, aren't they? They don't really exist anywhere else in the world.
I mean, there's like national holidays and...
Yeah, but bank holidays.
I mean, I think it's just what we call them because it's the day that the banks close.
But it's not a real holiday. It's just a Monday.
Well, no, but it's May Day.
No one did anything.
It's May Day.
Okay. But the next May bank holiday, no one does anything. That's just we want some time off.
I don't know. Most of them are because of something. Or at least historically were because of something.
Okay.
And then there's a whole bunch of like holidays that end up getting moved because like it was the Jubilee or whatever, and that seemed like a thing that we should have a bank holiday for at some point, but then it gets moved to a more like convenient time.
It's like, that is a thing we should celebrate, but the time when it happened was dumb. I would rather have some time off in August.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yes, Sarah. I'm so glad. We've been meaning to, this is really random, but we've been meaning to do a Eastern Hemisphere live. And I literally said this last week, and then I thought, when's the next bank holiday Monday? And then it was today, and it's like, okay, well, let's do it immediately. And here we are.
Here we are.
So, would you like to answer some questions?
Sure. If people have more questions, stick them in the chat thing. But I think the chat's a bit slow. So
the chat is a bit slow, but that's okay.
We can a minute if you say something to us in the
get
chat.
round to it later. Do you want to start easy or do you want to start hard?
A dealer's choice.
Cuddy wants to know, what is the meaning of life?
42.
Easy, turns out. Also, I pronounced that wrong again, and it's really sad. Panicked.
Oh,
Caddy.
no.
Caddy. I can do it. I just didn't.
Why is it called a bank holiday if it's more than just banks having the day off? Why isn't it just called a holiday? It's called a bank holiday because most holidays, if they're not a bank holiday, the banks stay open.
See, like, I'm not British, and therefore I have no clue. I always assumed, and this is very much me just being rude to English people, I always assumed it was called a bank holiday because you had a weekend off and you just wanted it to be a bit longer. You wanted it to bank.
Oh, I see.
Across the next day too, because you were a bit sleepy and stuff.
Yeah, no, it's just literally that the banks are also closed.
Which is why Christmas Day and Boxing Day are actually bank holidays, aren't they?
Yeah, and New Year's Day.
Yeah. But they're actually bank holidays,
yeah.
Even though they're just Christmas.
They're days that everybody across the board, you know, that all businesses, including the banks, are shut.
Okay. But it's also because you were a bit sleepy.
I mean,
and he didn't want to go into work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clockard wants to know, how did we meet?
We met on the internet.
I mean, we barely met on the
We
internet.
met a bit on the internet.
I sort of knew who you were on the internet.
I knew who she was on the internet because she was scary on the internet.
I was scary on the internet.
She was a bit of a BNF.
I'm not scary on the internet now. I'm nice.
We met because we were both fans of a band called The Libertines, and spent an inordinate amount of time following the various offshoots of the band called The Libertines around the country.
I think
And
a
around
reasonable amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Ordinate.
And there were several online communities that we were both a part of that were called fans of The Libertines and their offshoot bands, Dirty Pretty Things and Baby Shambles. So we met because we went to an awful lot of gigs together.
Sorry, I'm slightly distracted because our laptop is resting on a not very stable concoction, and Howard just attempted to climb said concoction. But he didn't. Well done, you. You good puppy. You good puppy.
Lots of questions under Howard's butt. Yes.
Yes, you. Yes, your butt. Now, this is a very topical, for us, certainly, question.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen / read Shadow and Bone?
I have seen the first 4 episodes of Shadow and Bone, which I watched yesterday.
Yeah.
So yes, is the answer to that question. I'm
I'm quite enjoying it.
quite enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't, like, I'm not, oh my god, this is the best thing ever, I can now die happy.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying it, and I had been really dreading this whole new television that I don't know every word of thing. So that's quite exciting.
Yeah.
Hi, Per Monster.
Yeah, it's a bit I'm finding it a bit overcomplicated.
Yeah. There's a lot of
Like,
stuff going on.
There's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm kind of, there's bits of it I'm interested in, and there's bits of it that I'm sort of tuning out for because there's just too much stuff to pay attention to.
But also, like, I'm really used to not understanding anything when I watch television for the first time. So I'm really good at just going, oh, damn sure I'll come round again.
Yeah.
Or on the second watch, if the show's good, on the second watch I'll get it. So I'm quite cool with that.
Yeah, it's not so much that, like, not understanding, it's just like the being, I only have so much emotional energy, like I can only get engaged with so much. And also the like steampunk heist stuff is way more fun than the really complicated like war and chosen one stuff.
Yeah.
It's way more fun.
Yeah.
So
also, you do really only need to care about and worry about like fake Magnus Bane and dude from Leverage. Not Simon. Casper. What's his face? Raz. Taz.
Gaz.
Gaz. Him. And the lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to care about anything. You're cat. You're fine. But yeah, I'm liking it.
Yeah. Yeah, Sarah's agreeing with us.
Gaz and his group are so much more fun.
I just want to see them do like steampunk heists. I don't really care about the rest of it. Everything else is just a bit like over involved for me at the moment.
I want to see them do steampunk heists, and I also want to see, because we're in episode 4, I also want to see the entertainment act. But it's really just part of the heist. Maybe we should add that as a label to all podcasts. Oh, God. Which one was it? I can't even remember which one. We got a Twitter comment from someone saying, is that Howard? I can hear purring on the podcast. And I was like, well, I just edited it. I couldn't hear him. But yes, the answer will be yes. If you can hear purring, it is Howard. And then I went out litter picking, which is when I listen to stuff on headphones. and oh my god, were you loud.
He's got stuff to say.
Yeah, mostly it's
It was Savs. Who said about Howard?
yes, it was you. I didn't know you were here. Hello. But yeah, it's so weird because, like, you know, I edit quite loud. Like my laptop's on quite loud, and I did cut out some of the purring, and I thought that was all of it. He is not apologetic at all. He does not care.
Yep.
There's a cat in Prague called Howard.
All the best cats are called Howard.
Oh, I'm so glad that it ends on their menu. They had recommended dishes, and I thought, oh god, they ate Howard. But no, they had Howard recommends dishes. You don't recommend nothing.
No.
Oh no, you're off podcast. Eyeball. It's not a podcast. It's not a podcast. So yes, we have watched Shadow and Bone. We have not read Shadow and Bone. Do you have any show or movie recommendations? And I literally just recommended Shadow and Bone to someone yesterday. Very much in a, I've seen 4 episodes, I've been enjoying it, and it didn't break my brain trying to watch it. But also, there's only 8 episodes, so I don't feel like this is going to take over my life. Like, I will watch 8 episodes, I will enjoy finally understanding all of the Twitter takeover that's been going on social, certainly my social media.
Yeah.
But then I can move on with my life.
That's nice.
And that's nice. I've been watching Kim's Convenience, which is not in any way new and current and secret recommendation. It's got 5 seasons, and I think it just got cancelled, so it will be finishing after 5 seasons. But I've been really enjoying that. Literally just about convenience store.
Yeah. I just finished season 3 of The Good Fight, which I very much enjoyed. Recommend The Good Fight if you haven't seen that. That's some really class television.
Neither of us really watch movies. What's the last movie you saw? I've so far failed to watch either Trust or All My Life, both of which are somewhere on the list. They're Shadowhunter people's new movies, but I have failed to watch them so far.
I can't remember what the last film I saw is.
No, I can't. See how we don't watch movies.
Not a big movie watcher. Oh, I guess we watched the third To All the Boys movie not that long ago.
Yes, that might actually be it.
That was alright.
Actually, no, we watched Mean Girls, I think after, which wasn't great. Surprise.
Yeah.
Because I'd never seen it.
Yeah. We watched the third To All the Boys film. That was alright. Better than the second one, not as good as the first one, which is pretty standard.
True.
Have we watched BBC's newest trailer where it's, yes, 3 Families. We watched the trailer.
Also yesterday.
It does look
This was our prep for this live. It looks really good.
It looks depressing, but yeah.
Yeah, I did literally watching it, and with the quarantine brain and the current mood of just being exhausted all the time, I did watch it and I was like, oh, but it looks really good.
It's certainly interesting. Yeah.
Just heavy.
Yeah. I think we'll have to wait and see what like configuration it comes in and how many episodes and whether they're going to be week by week or
yeah. No, totally.
Before I'm prepared to commit to
dive in.
Yeah.
Because I didn't actually look further into it. It looks like a BBC miniseries, so
yeah,
I'm assuming 5 episodes, and we could just watch them when they're all out, kind of thing. Hopefully. They didn't eat you, Howard. You ran the place in Prague. You ran the place.
Mary asked how many times we listen to a podcast before it's fully edited, and somebody else asked on the thing before, how long does it take to edit a podcast? What programs do we use? And there was another editing question somewhere as well, I saw.
I'm just going to start while you look for that.
Go for it.
So we use Audacity, partially because when we started podcasting, we spend a day Googling how do you podcast and looking at recommendations, and a lot of people recommended that. Partially because it's free.
Mostly because it's free.
And actually, I think it's a really good program.
Yeah, it's solid.
I really like it. Like, I like the user interface. I like that it's free, obviously, but I think it's a really nicely done, share open access software. As for length of editing, it takes me 3 times as long as the file that I'm editing, and it takes Ruth about twice as long as the file that she's editing. So, like, if we record for 2 hours, it will take me 6 hours to edit it. It will take Ruth about 4 hours to edit it.
Probably 5, but yeah.
And we have slightly different styles in terms of editing, but mostly I get distracted really easily. It's like, if it's those kind of thing, it's like, okay, well, I've got these 3 things to edit. I could just sit down, do a proper 8-hour workday and be done with it. Except it takes such a weird bit of your brain and such a weird bit of uber hyper focus that I can't do it for 6 hours straight. And actually, I do my best editing if we're in a time crunch. So, like, Merlin, I do my best editing on because we're doing it weekly and we're doing it with write-ins, which means that we have to do the comments and then pretty much edit it and get it out the next day almost. So quite often we will stop recording, like eat dinner, and I will then start editing it straight after. And actually I do my best editing between like 10 p.m. and 3 a.m., which is not healthy, but it works. I think just because my brain's still in it, like we just had the conversation and I'm like quite jazzed up about it, and then I get on with it. And whereas sometimes we record something that we just want to have banked and we just want it there for when we need it. And then like 3 months later you come to editing it and it's like, oh.
Yeah.
I don't know, you might feel differently about that.
I sometimes I get tired of our voices. And so sometimes I really struggle to edit immediately after we've recorded something because I already know what we're going to say. So it's like the impetus to push through is less.
I think this is also an awful lot like, if we watch television together and there's like a really good bit, Ruth will be like, oh, that was a really good bit. And I'll be like, can I rewind and watch it again? And Ruth doesn't understand why I want to do that.
No.
And I think actually our editing works exactly the same way. Because I'm like, oh, we just had this conversation. It was really good. And I want to keep having it. But we finished. And therefore, I can just replay it.
Yeah.
And experience it again. Whereas you're like, no, we just did it. And it was good. Why would I want to do it again? So it works.
Yeah. And kind of Mary's actual question was how many times we have to listen to each podcast before it's fully edited. We just listen through once.
Yeah. Well, what we tend to do is we edit it beginning to end. And then generally both of us will listen back, but that's after it's gone out. And that's just the kind of,
unless there's some particular reason that we're like anxious about it, or if it was a particularly complicated one. Sometimes if we run really long and therefore the edit has to be a little bit more like thorough or brutal, or if there's something that we've decided to actually pull out altogether, there's sometimes there'll be a conversation that we had in episodes that's like, actually we should just pull this whole thing and save it for another time because it doesn't fit into this very well. If that happens, which isn't very often, then whoever hasn't edited will tend to give it a listen through before it goes out, just to kind of
it's just for coherency. Right. Absolutely.
Because it's really difficult if you've tried to pull out an entire conversation strand, because as you all know, we don't tend to have conversations in a particularly linear fashion, so our conversations tend to be pretty
time.
It means that there might have been places where you've had to pull out the same strands of conversation in like different places throughout the episode, and that can get a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
Or if we've had some kind of weird technical mishap, which means that we've had to record in chunks. So
Don't talk about it.
so we always record through the episode, and then we'll record the comments and lessons for the episode a couple of days later, so that you all have time to actually write in. So we always record in 2 chunks, but sometimes there'll be an interruption, or we'll have to step away, or it's just not working, and because we're tired or because we're just like not feeling it, and then you step away and come back and record a different chunk, and then piecing them together can sometimes be a little bit challenging, so you won't know to listen to again.
It's also all of that is practice.
Yeah.
Like, we have gotten like both in regards to learning when to step away, which we've gotten really good about. It's like, okay, we're going to try one more time. And if we're still stumbling over our words or, croaking and coughing, then we're just going to stop and we're going to come back a different day. But also the actual, like making a note of where exactly you stopped within the episode of the book or whatever we're recording, and then listening back to the end of the bit you've recorded and actually re-recording that, because that makes editing it together so much easier than if you just try and jump straight into the next sentence. So it's about it's a learning curve.
It's all practice, and it's all about like finding what's easiest for us, which isn't actually always the same thing. Like there's very different things that we find challenging, and if either of us are tired, then the things that will start going wrong are different for us both. So it's trying to sort of like compensate for where things go awry.
Yeah.
And
just working together and compensating for the other person.
Yeah.
The thing that we always say, we're so lucky that not just that we live in the same country, unlike many people that podcast, but also that we've known each other for over 10 years, and we can generally tell when, but also how exactly things are going to be difficult for the other person, and you can compensate to a degree, or you just go, okay, no, we're not doing it. We're just going to step away.
90% of the time, if we have to pull the plug, it's the person who's not struggling who pulls the plug.
Yes.
Yeah. We're both a little bit stubborn. So it's like, no, I'm fine. I'm going to push through. And it's like, you're not fine. We're not pushing through. We're going to stop now.
It's like, no, this is going to be great. Tears streaming down your face. I feel like we've missed many, many questions.
No, I don't think so. There's some highs. Hi.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. The Untamed has taken over everyone's life. And now, what is it? Word of Honor? World of Honor? Something to do with a W and then Honor. That's now replaced The Untamed on my social media feed. Which is really sad, because I feel like I just finished muting and blocking all of the words associated with The Untamed.
Yeah.
And now everyone's moved on to a new show with new words and new acronyms and new abbreviations.
It's really weird when your social media gets into something that you're not into. It's because there's trying to work out what of the gifts are associated with what thing. So it's like, the gifts come around. It's like, are they Untamed people? I don't know. So you're trying to. I've just pieced together which of the characters that appear in GIF form on my Tumblr feed.
It's also it really bugs me, and I don't know why it really bugs me, because it's so not relevant to my life.
Yes, it's a show you don't watch.
Yeah, and I was just like, no, but I must, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm being ignorant and rubbish for not knowing which acronym is associated with which person from which show. Like, yeah, I don't watch it. It's fine. Hello. Yeah, Mary asked, "Do we have any new bloopers?" Like, oh yes, I mean, I'm happy to put together a new blooper reel to put out. We have many bloopers. I used to save them a lot more than I do now, and I like to think that's because we actually mess up less, but also we mess up in less funny ways.
I don't know. I've
I don't
never
know.
been in charge of bloopers.
No.
I've never pulled them, so I don't know.
But I just think like it's part of the learning curve as well, which is like no, rather than stumbling through stuff, we just stop and start again. But I'm sure there are still bloopers. Also, I now quite often, like, if we have like one funny blooper, I will just film it and stick it on Twitter.
True.
Which is the lamest, most anti-tech person way of doing anything. It's like, here's an audio file that I am playing in an audio editing program on my laptop, which I'm filming with my phone and then tweeting. And I can see why people, hate me.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think anybody hates you.
If I was involved with anything tech, I would hate me. There was Howard's tail. I thought you just poured coffee down your top and just didn't even
No,
flinch.
it was Howard's tail.
But now Howard's tail moved. Okay. Reminds me of the friend who suddenly got into wrestling, and I feel bad on following them, but my Tumblr Dash is full of wrestling now. Yeah. There's also I don't know, there are people that you follow in a specific fandom, and the only thing you have in common is that fandom, and you follow them because you enjoy the content that they provide within the context of that fandom. So whether that's, their take on the show, or whether that's funny tweets, or whether that's funny memes or whatever, but it is just about the one thing. And you don't really speak to them outside of that one thing. Like, there are people on my Twitter right now that I follow and they follow me, but they've changed their username. They've changed their banners and icons to something of the Untamed, let's face it. And they haven't tweeted about anything other than the Untamed. And I'm not actually 100% sure who they are. And then you feel bad for unfollowing, but equally, I don't watch the Untamed.
No.
Bradley did say the backbone of the whole podcast was us being awesome and stuff. I can't actually see the rest of the comment.
Thanks, Cassie. That's really nice.
Engaging and fun friendship. And also Howard, you could be a bit of backbone. Yeah. Listen to your podcast in the car on the way to school today. Then I go to school, proceeded to ignore my friends and listen to your podcast. Got to the point where my friend who had no interest in Merlin took one of my earphones and started listening to me. That's nice. Do talk to your friends after you're done listening.
Yeah.
Or make your friends listen. Take it back, is all Howard. Fair enough. It is all Howard. I got a Howard.
No, I know. My leg went numb.
That's not because I got a Howard. That's because I removed the Howard.
Yeah.
Is a Howard. He looks so happy. Ask me a question.
Ask you a question.
Ask me a question.
Howard, what's your favourite one-liner from BBC Merlin?
One-liner. I was gonna act out the one-liner, but then I couldn't think of one.
This is the problem, is you ask that question, every line of dialogue from Merlin ever flies out of my head. Stop being mean to the cat.
Arthur. I'm not covered in fur. I like Arthur's introduction. I like Merlin saying, "Who do you think you are?" to King, and Arthur saying, "No, I'm Arthur, his son, the prince," or whatever his line is. I should know that line.
His son,
Arthur. There we go. It's like I know the word son and Arthur and prince are somewhere in that sentence. Yeah. Oh, I'm so covered in fur now. It's summer, so Howard is shedding like a hair salon. It's just so furry. What's your favorite line? Pick a line. What's a line you remember? I think Mary's right.
I mean, that's the individual moment that makes me laugh the most for reasons best beknownst to myself.
This is a road to develop an area.
I think there's something like tragic and poignant about I'm happy to be your servant until the day I die.
Oh,
I think there's something that's like
I love it.
brutal but incredibly thematic about that.
Do-do-do-do.
Yeah.
Kathy wants to know any reason for all cats and no dogs.
We have had dogs. We had a dog last 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Pop died 4 years ago. I've always had cats. I'm a big cat person. And cats are easier than dogs. And up until March 2020, we all spent some time traveling, quite a lot of time traveling. And cats are easy because you just have somebody come and hang out with them for a bit. But yeah, dogs really need to have a new house to stay in whilst you're away. So
there was a moment, and it was mostly constrained to internet research, but there was a moment of pondering the quarantine puppy thing. But it's a bad idea, and I am very glad that we concluded that it's a bad idea. And especially at some point the world will return to normal, and we will return to traveling and wanting to leave the house and not wanting to arrange what's basically childcare.
yeah.
And yeah, with cats you just don't need to do that. I also just like, I don't know, I like cats to just, they're just somewhere in the house and they just amble about, and every now and again they scare the bejesus out of you. Dogs are much less subtle than that. But I love dogs. I love dogs. They're good. Slain. So Egwene was slain by a fishing rod. That was fun. I'd forgotten that joke. That was a fun joke.
Too.
I'd kind of forgotten that Egwene was there
in
being.
that episode.
What else we got? Have you watched any of Colin's movie/TV series post Merlin?
Yes.
Not all.
Not all, but we watched pretty much everything in the immediate few years post
As you do.
Post Merlin.
We saw Parked.
We saw Park.
We called that his first role post Merlin was gonna be
as a
drug addict, and then watched Parked and felt very, very smug. We've seen all of his theatre
post.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think we have.
So. I think so. I think we've.
I love Colin in the theatre a lot more than every time he is doing a play, and luckily he does a lot of them in London.
Right. I think the only reason we've seen them all is because they've all been in London.
I've wanted to go and see him on stage, whereas there's various TV shows that he's done since Merlin where I just don't feel the need to see them because I'm not interested in the premise of it, or they're really hard to watch.
Yeah.
It's like I've seen half of Damien, but I don't have Sky. Even now that's finally in the UK, it's on Sky. I don't have Sky, so I was watching it in ways. And it was just really hard. It was really hard work. I like easy television. I'm really lazy. I like things that are on televisions that I have at the press of a button.
Yeah. Why did we think that Colin would play a drug addict? Archetype.
Yeah.
Literally just archetype. There are just that he's certainly when he came out of Merlin that he was of an age and of a physical type. He wasn't at that point in his life going to get romantic leading man roles. He was there were going to be indie flicks. just because of his physicality and his appearance, basically. And the roles that are going to have meat on them, be interesting, be challenging, are we anticipated likely going to be
addict roles.
Roles. Those were going to be the ones that he was offered and that were the most interesting projects, and therefore the ones that he was most likely to pick up. So.
During lockdown in Australia, I made an attempt to watch every single show / movie Colin ever made an appearance in since Merlin. I don't think ever finished. I mean, he's worked a lot.
He has worked a lot.
He's worked loads, and there's at least 2 or 3 of the plays he's been in, I think, are on DVD as well, or on streaming somewhere, so you can add that to the list. I say recently, what is time? This was on a plane, so clearly not recently, but the last plane we were on, I think, I watched Benjamin, which I hadn't even known existed. Like, that's the amount of television and movies that Colin has been in. There is stuff that I've literally, I was scrolling through the options on the plane and it was like, oh my god, Colin Morgan in a movie I'd never even heard of.
Yeah,
he's been very busy. What was your favorite Colin live roles and why? I really loved him in All My Sons. All My Sons?
Yeah.
Is that the title? Yeah. That was amazing. Actually, no, the 12-minute play, which was the last play we ever saw before the world ended.
Oh, A Number.
A Number.
That was brilliant.
Very brief. Very, very brief. So, it barely, I don't know. It's it was so good, but it was literally 35 minutes?
40, I think, but yeah, it was
short.
It was a 1 act.
But it was amazing. The first thing we saw him in was, the first thing you saw him in
I saw him in Vernon God Little before Merlin, just completely by happenstance.
Because you saw a lot of theatre.
I saw a lot of theatre. And yeah, that was a brilliant, and I put it together relatively quickly when I saw him in Merlin, which was strange because he had a very strong American accent in Vernon God Little, so kind of he was quite different. It was but no, that was really good. I thought Translations was fantastic. And I loved his Ariel. I thought his Ariel in The Tempest was brilliant.
I think the thing with The Tempest mostly was just that was the first thing immediately after Merlin, and the entire experience was just very, oh my god, you are the biggest new thing in Britain. So the whole thing was just slightly odd.
I mean, there were a lot of Merlin fans.
There were a lot of Merlin fans, and also I was reading reviews of people on LiveJournal at the time that were Merlin fans. So there was also an awful lot of, especially at the time, literally there was LiveJournal entries, which was oh my god, he should record an album immediately. He has the best singing voice I have ever heard in my life. He was fine. So Ariel has always been a little bit I can't quite differentiate and separate.
I think
from...
I was just so it was such a different skill set than I'd ever seen him demonstrate before.
And also oh my god, he was so buff. It's you spend the entire time between the end of Merlin and Ariel doing all of those pull-ups he had to do on stage.
I just thought it was it was so strong. It was so strong a take. And I was really impressed with it. And I love the Globe. I love seeing things at the Globe. So
it's also that role at the Globe, especially that type of theatre, really suits an actor like Colin Morgan, who spends so much work and so much time thinking about the background acting. He spends half of that play when he's not actually delivering lines, just woozling around the background and doing stuff in character, and it's something that we both love about watching actors not actually delivering their lines. but still actually acting,
Yeah.
being in character, being there. I think Parked was very alongside Merlin.
It was immediately post.
Yeah, but was filmed, I think, between
I
seasons.
don't think so.
You think it was
I think it was
after?
immediately post.
Because there was also Island was the other one that was really close after Merlin.
And I think that might have been filmed during that.
Maybe it's Island that I'm thinking
Maybe.
about. Like one of the two was definitely filmed in a break.
Mm,
And actually Island wouldn't have taken very long because that was super indie.
yeah,
So maybe it was Island.
that's a weird, intense film.
Yeah. I still have the DVD somewhere.
Mm.
I have not felt the need to
No,
rewatch
Not
it.
a casual rewatch.
I mean, honestly, I've only watched Park twice.
Hmm.
And I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Colin Meaney?
Calm, meaning.
Colm. I told all my sons in school and we watched the version Colin was in. And actually, I was sort of vaguely aware that that was available for purchase. But good on you for making school buy it. Like Colin's singing voice was fine. He didn't embarrass himself.
There was no embarrassment. Just like he absolutely 100% should not quit acting for a musical career. I think.
And I don't think he should immediately record an album.
Mm.
That's all. He sang in the 25-hour musical as well. I mean, obviously it was a musical, but yeah, he did. He's clearly not terrified of singing. It's just, he says it himself.
So, it was perfectly possible.
He's not big on it. Yeah. Okay, yeah, Island between season 3 and 4, and Park between 4 and 5. No, I think that sounds about right. Also, I think Island, again, because it was such an indie flick, also took forever to actually be distributed, as they often do. We have not seen any of his The Living and the Dead, Living and the Damned.
I knew
that one.
The ghost story one.
The one where he's not Aidan Turner, but also is doing gardening, farming type stuff.
Active,
yeah,
butch, masculine
with a beard,
yeah,
and a Towsley hair.
Yeah,
Lee looks good in the pictures. I don't know. I haven't watched it. We watched Humans, and we should totally, now it's on Netflix, get back to that.
Yeah.
Because we were watching it live, and then because it was taking forever, we did that thing of going, let's wait till it's finished airing and then catch up. And then we didn't catch up.
Mm.
What else we got? Oh, you go. What do you think of The Princess Bride?
I adore The Princess Bride. Princess Bride is a fantastic film.
And would you do a thinky thoughts on Princess Bride?
Absolutely.
It's actually on our list somewhere.
Yeah.
How did you start podcasting, and what was your first podcast?
Our first podcast was The Descent is Easy, a Shadowhunters podcast. And we started podcasting because I made Michelle start podcasting.
We started podcasting because Ruth wanted to podcast, and then we worked out that we could be live with the episode still airing if we started podcast. If we recorded 2 episodes per podcast, 2 episodes of the show per episode of podcast, released weekly, and started in 6 days. So we did.
Yeah.
Because we're nuts. Yeah. That was good. Don't think I will watch The Living and the Dead and then like horror. See, I'm not, I couldn't even really work out, and I never really looked all that much into it, whether it was actually horror or whether it was a ghost story or whether it was just a little bit mystery.
Mm.
Also, Humans as Will Tudor.
And Gemma Chan.
And they're all the best.
Yeah.
So that's cool. If you could change the ending of any TV series, which one would you pick, and how would you end it?
And I guess this isn't like, you know, Firefly, and I'd change the end of it
to not
to not have ended.
be cancelled.
Like that. Hmm. Hmm.
I don't know. It's really weird because I kind of skipped from Buffy and being hugely obsessed with Buffy to watching an awful lot of television quite casually to sort of now. And then the Shadowhunters thing happened and the Save Shadowhunters campaign happened. And that was honestly sort of the first time that made me realise that a lot of shows get cancelled and that people are unhappy about it.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I was still working with either shows I didn't much care about. You know, like Scrubs went on for 400 seasons, and at some point it got a bit of rubbish, and then at some point it stopped.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it got cancelled. It just stopped because it got a bit bad, and he should have stopped earlier. And then I was also watching quite a lot of British shows, which very much did the thing of going, okay, we want to do 8 episodes of this television and tell this story, and we did that. And then things like Being Human, which was amazing in the first 3 seasons, and then he continued, and they should have stopped.
Mm-hmm.
But like it didn't. I don't know. Those aren't endings that I mind. It's more a well, you should have stopped earlier.
Yeah.
And you know, I couldn't tell you right now how Being Human actually ends.
Well, it's also, it's like, because I didn't care too much about like the last 2 seasons. It's
That's
like,
right.
what's
I genuinely, I don't know.
No, I don't know. Like, there's plenty of shows that like I really wish they'd rethought their last season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's the other thing as well.
But
It's
it's like,
not just how
I
it
don't-
ends.
It's not
You know,
so
I
much.
don't mind how Merlin ends. I mind how he gets there.
Yes, I think that's yes. I would do serious editing to seasons 4 and 5
But I'm okay
But I'm
with where it
happy
ends.
to get to the place where we got to.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd agree. So yeah, I yeah. Interesting. Anyway, that's a non-answer to that question. But
I would not want Alec Lightwood and Magnus Bane to move to Alicante. That's nonsense.
I mean, like, there's plenty of stuff that I would change about the end of Shadowhunters, but I'm kind of
You kind of can't blame them.
no.
Like, I mean, you can.
I mean,
we
I
did
can, we
loudly
did.
for hours on
many
podcast.
hours,
But
documented.
like, they tried to do their best.
Yeah.
But that is one aspect of that ending that I think is stupid, and I would change.
Yes, fair enough.
What is your thoughts on Riley as we approach Buffy season 4? I like Riley as we meet him in the library, dropping books on his head.
I struggle with Riley because I find Mark Blucas very charming.
Mm-hmm.
I like warm, solid people. You know, like I struggle with Riley because I think he's dull, and I struggle with Riley because he turns very quickly into a complete douche canoe.
Yeah. That's why I only like him in the library when we throw books at his head.
But like I don't mind.
I don't hate him the way that many people who watch Buffy hate him. Same way I don't hate Dawn in the way many people hate Dawn.
But I found Dawn irritating. She grated on me in a way that I wasn't sorry to see Riley go, and I certainly became more irritated with him as time went on. I don't know. I guess I sort of appreciate Riley for what he was what they were attempting to represent with him.
I think they needed to do that storyline, and Riley was as good a person to deal with as any. And then, like, the whole storyline of season 4 is very take it or leave it.
But that's not really Riley's fault.
No.
It's just
And within that storyline, Riley happens and makes sense.
Yeah. So I don't have as violent hatred for him as many Buffy fans do. He's certainly not my favourite. And certainly I'm glad that he didn't stick around for longer than he did. And I sort of wish we'd just lost him at the end of season 4.
Yeah.
I think they could probably have been reasonably sure by the end of season 4 that the character wasn't working.
Yes.
And I think they should have pulled the plug on him at that point, especially since like the character graduates. So they could have just exited him out.
Yeah. They could have literally just had him leave somehow.
And it wouldn't have been a big deal, but yeah.
But no. If you could resurrect / recommission a cancelled TV show for continuation, which one would you pick? Yeah. That is the only answer.
Wi-Fi.
Not remake, but simply make more of the original series with the same actors. Firefly. What are the best and worst aspects of fandom?
I think the best and worst aspects of fandom are sort of the same thing. I think the best aspect of fandom, the best thing about fandom is passion and enthusiasm for art, for stories, for anything that people are excited about. And I think the worst aspect of fandom is when passion for art and stories and people who make those art and stories become vicious and territorial and proprietary.
Yeah. No, I think the territorial is absolutely
and exclusionary. That's the worst aspect of fandom.
Yeah, it's gatekeeping.
Yeah. There you go. That's my answer.
I think also, especially in the current climate, there's something very strange about the access to people from the works that you like and enjoy and are creating fandom around. You know, the fact that most actors are on Twitter, the fact that most authors are on Twitter, and that you can access them, but also that like the lines are really blurred. The worlds aren't as divided as they used to be.
Yeah.
And that can be a good thing, but also means that it's like, you know, this stuff that we used to create for ourselves, and we were really happy just creating for ourselves and each other. And now there is this kind of blurred element to creating it for the people that are in the TV show you love, or that have written the books that you love, and inviting them into it, but also like forcing it upon them.
Well, and expecting them to somehow endorse it or support it, or
like react to it, endorse it, encourage it. And if they don't, then that colors your view of those people and leads to unpleasant opinions about things. Well, no, this person never said they hated fanfic. They just didn't jump up and down when you tagged them in it. You can't be annoyed by that.
Well, and also using some random thing that an actor has said to oppress or criticize or bludgeon other fans with. Oh, so and so said that he thought that his character would have done such and such a thing, and therefore that's true, and you're wrong.
And your take on it is therefore categorically
right. And I think people are much less good now than they were prior to the Twitter, Tumblr, social media takeoff of fandom, of removing the word of God or from their interpretation and from their appreciation of other people's interpretation. Like,
Which does come right back to the passion overflowing into gatekeeping and into attacking and into it's just like no, fandom is literally there for you to explore all different takes on this thing.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, don't read it. That's so simple.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I'm so glad that Colin is not on Twitter. I mean, just like because of how difficult he clearly found engaging with fandom on a mass scale.
No, totally. Like how much he struggled with the notion of
and
being
how uncomfortable
famous.
it made him. And just that's something that he could clearly really have done without.
And I think any actor that decides to not be on any platform of social media, whichever it is that you choose to be on or not be on, good on them. And let's not, let's not blame them for, we all curate our own internet experience. And if curating it means not being on it, that's allowed.
Right. And whilst it's part of an actor's job to, promote and support the thing that they're in, it is not part of an actor's job to offer up their personal anything to
the wolves. The Twitter wolves.
The rabid hyenas.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's not like you can't still have them do interviews and stick those interviews on YouTube as you do right now. So yeah. What aspect of lockdown life and lifestyle do you hope will persist beyond the crisis? There wasn't time. What is time? But when everyone got really excited about dolphins in Venice and animals coming back and zoo animals doing exciting things and pandas shagging at the zoo because they weren't being bothered by people anymore and all of that. And then all of that went just down the toilet. It just, I don't know, I was really hoping, and I am still hoping, that there is an understanding and a change to the way that we treat the world and treat nature, and that some of that is gonna remain with people.
Yeah.
And the difference that he made, that people weren't driving into work and how emissions went down and just all of that. And I just hope that at least with some people that sticks. What I hope doesn't stick is my quarantine weight. I hope that doesn't stick.
Yeah.
It's also like, I'm a massive hypocrite. I'm like, oh yeah, it's great. CO2 emissions are down, but also the second that we can actually legitimately go on a plane and go on holidays, that'll be nice. I'm looking forward to that too. Like it goes both ways. But yeah. What are you enjoying about lockdown life?
Work-life balance. I really, really hope, and I think inevitably it will, but I really hope that the fact that we've all been just having to confront and question what is a good work-life balance, and the way that certainly my company, but I know a lot of people's companies have been really supportive of people needing to spend time on their lives as well as at work, and that I hope has been an increased appreciation across the board, or at least mostly across the board, and that will stick. I have been happier working from home by and large than I was in an office. I hadn't realised quite how much of a toll just being around that many people all day, every day took on me. Like I'm a massive introvert, and I find human beings exhausting, just like not through any malice, not through anybody doing anything bad.
That includes me.
But just just being around people I find really tiring, and I've found work so much easier and so much less exhausting not having to deal with quite so many people all the time. And I've lost, for the past 5 years of my life prior to this, I've lost an hour and a half every day traveling into work and out of work, and that's something I'm not sorry to
Yeah.
have back. And I think it's been easier to just pay a little bit more attention to work-life balance, and that things that felt like they were hard and a massive deal and a massive hassle just don't feel like that anymore.
I think there's also, like, obviously, and the work-life balance will be nicer when there's actually slightly more life to enjoy and experience and add to that balance as well. But the number of times where there's been something after work that I wanted to come home, change, and then go out and do, and I've just not done it because I just spent 8 hours outside. I have just gotten off a disgustingly rammed, sweaty tube, and the last thing I want to do is get back on the tube. And I think there's that as well. Like, once we actually are able to go back to the theatre, go back to concerts, go back to restaurants, that actually working from home more and doing less commuting on your 8-hour workday means that going out and enjoying life outside might be a bit easier as well.
Yeah.
I've also found the same as, like, I've been really, I'm awful at going to the gym, like, before, after work.
Yeah.
I go to the gym either on my days off or on the weekends, or if I'm working from home, like over lunchtime, sometimes maybe. But that's because I don't want to come home from work, grab my, get home, and then have to leave the house again. And actually, it is just that. Like, you just go home.
Yeah.
You don't want to leave again.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that will be, once there is life to get back to, quite nice as well. What does your perfect day out post-lockdown, maybe pre-lockdown, look like? I like plays. I like the theatre. I am really looking forward to seeing a play.
Yeah. No, that would be good. Seeing a play would be good. Eating in a restaurant would be good. Which sounds really silly, but I like eating out. I think it's a social activity I enjoy.
And honestly, just meeting up with people, with more than 3 people that are the same 3 people you've been allowed to see over the last 18 months.
Yeah.
We've been very, very lucky to have loved ones living close and being able to see them. We're incredibly lucky to not live on our own, but humans that aren't you.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice.
I like you, but I've seen a lot of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's also between, the lockdown and the podcast, you is the only conversation I have. If it's not Howard, you and Howard. And you just don't make for great conversation. You just don't. I love you. Is there any chance you'll interview some of the other cast members of Merlin?
If they want us to, sure.
Basically, we are super lazy and also utterly useless.
Yeah.
So if they come to us, sure.
Yeah, no, we would not have interviewed Bradley if he hadn't done all of the heavy lifting for us, basically.
I did a little bit of
you
the
did
heavy
a
lifting.
little bit.
Did a little bit.
But yeah, it was only after express invitation to do so. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I did email Tom Hopper's agent. He never talked to me. So that the ball's in his court.
Busy acting and shit.
It was around the time when lockdown lifted for the, I don't know, 3rd time, 5 times ago, kind of thing. But how do we prepare comments and lessons for podcasting? What steps do you take from first reading to recording?
Well, you should probably answer that one, considering you do it mostly. But we're trying now, because in the beginning we didn't get so many comments that we needed to do much sifting. So in the beginning we were pretty much reading everything that wasn't just people writing in and saying, like, love the podcast, that was great, which is always nice to hear, but it feels a little bit self-congratulatory.
We still don't read those out.
To stick it in the actual podcast. so we were sort of just reading everything, and then we were reading most things, and now, because you guys are all so amazing and so enthusiastic and talking so much, which is awesome, but does mean that we have to be selective. So now we're pretty much going through and picking up things that that we feel like we have something interesting to say about.
And yeah, like things that either really contradict what we've said or added to and expand on what we've said.
Right.
Because we do obviously get an awful lot of write-ins that are just, oh my god, I totally agree with everything you said. And there's kind of not much point in saying that again on the podcast. You know, it's nice to hear, but it doesn't make for fantastic conversation.
Right. So it's pretty much just things that we have something interesting to say about, or feel like we have something interesting to say about. So we'll just now go through, read everything, and then highlight the things that we want to talk about. We dump them into a Google Doc, and that's how we.
Yeah, at the moment we've got 3 Google Docs on the go, just because we've got one for the current episode, one for lessons, and I've started one for season 4 roundup. Because there's also 4. Because there's also things that come up at the moment that are episode specific, but actually pertain to like the whole season, and that we're gonna, you know, that we might actually discuss in episode and then realize halfway through that this is 20 minutes of roundup conversation.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be better at pre-segregating that.
Yeah, all things that have been spoilery.
Yeah.
You know, comments that we've had earlier in the season that have been really spoilery. So
it's like, and then in season 5 this happens. It's like, no, it doesn't. You don't know.
And then obviously you have to do some like trimming or editing of the actual comments themselves, because you know, again, just for conciseness, trying to at least mostly just tell, you know, read out the bits of comment that are actually pertinent to the conversation we're going to have, rather than the whole thing. So
we try again, learning process. And yeah, I think there was absolutely a stage when we went from a couple of listeners and a couple of write-ins to a fair number of listeners and a large amount of write-ins, but we hadn't yet quite clocked and therefore hadn't adjusted.
Yeah.
So
that was really bad. That was not a fun period.
And there's some episodes where like the up top section is just too long and it just goes on. And I am trying to get through stuff.
Yeah.
But hey ho.
Yeah.
We learn, we live and we learn.
I can't believe that we spoke to Bradley James. He was so nice.
It was so lovely.
He was like so lovely.
We've
been so lucky, because we've talked to Bradley James, we talked to Ken McNamara for our Shadowhunters podcast, and they were both just like the most delightful, patient, kind human beings, which, considering we have no idea what we're doing in terms of like interviewing people.
Yeah. So they go, but you're so nice.
But like they were both just so lovely.
No, and they both made it really easy. Yeah. And yeah. Nice people. Nice people. Also, I can't remember who said this. It might have been Katie, but someone said what they really liked was, especially with the Bradley James interview, like how organic it felt. The kind of the tweet, like casual shouted about the podcast, and then like the Instagram mention, and then the fact that it happened. And yeah, no, it was just really organic. But not because we did anything, just because we existed. I mean, we made a podcast, and clearly a podcast that is good.
Yeah.
That's all we did.
Yeah.
We did have a couple of people get in touch and like, oh my God, how did you do it? It's like, well, create a podcast, make a podcast that will get listened to by famous people. Take it from there. Thanks, Cassie. Cassie's very nice. We get to keep her.
Yeah.
Who would play you in a movie about your life?
We play this game quite a lot. It's one of our favorite car games. The casting films of people we know, just random people we know. It's like, oh, you know, my aunt, who would play her in the movie of her life. I've always said Carey Mulligan. I think Carey Mulligan would make a good me in the movie of my life.
Is she in that Doctor Who episode?
Yes, from
Yes!
from Blink.
Yes. She's lovely.
She is
She
lovely.
would make a good
Yeah.
you.
Also,
I know who she is.
you do. And just a fun Merlin viewers fact, Anthony Stewart Head totally should play my dad in the movie
Yes.
of my life or
Yes.
of his life.
Oh yeah, well, I mean either.
Either way.
I mean ideally both.
Ideally both.
Yeah. It'd be weird if they cast a
Tony
new
Head
actor.
would make a very good my dad.
It's true.
Tony Head or Colin Firth, depending on the budget of the film.
I also like Tony Head would make a very good my dad. That's a good sentence.
Who would play you in the movie of your life?
I don't know. I don't know actors.
You guys pick. You guys give us suggestions. Who should play Mish in the movie?
I used to possibly slightly less these days, but I used to get Kelly Osbourne a lot.
I think that's just because of the hair.
Yeah.
Though, right? It's not like.
Also, I don't know. Does she do acting? Does she do anything?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yo, what's her face from Will and Grace? Who wrote it? Not Will and Grace. Gavin and Stacey. The lady who wrote it.
Ruth Jones.
Yeah.
Interesting choice.
No?
I mean, she's a fabulous actress, but she's probably 20 years older than you and very Welsh.
Yeah, well, she can be not Welsh. I like her.
Yeah, I like her too. She's fabulous.
She should play me. She's nice. Also, if she played me, I got to meet her.
True.
The tense in that sentence was all over the place.
Thanks for joining us, Sarah. Goodbye.
Also glad you could make kids. I was in favour of Colin Firth. Fair enough. I mean, we should probably head off in a bit. We've been here a while. They could do a couple of quick fire. Who's your favourite villain in Merlin so far?
Uther.
Yes. That is correct. This is actually not a quick fire round. This is a pop quiz. Who's your favourite Knight of the Round Table?
Gawain.
Also correct. Colin or Bradley?
For what? Dinner? Household chores?
I hear Colin is awesome at hoovering. It does not specify. Colin or Bradley?
I could not pick without further specification.
Okay, household chores.
I think Colin would be more efficient.
I don't know. See, the thing is, I have absolutely no knowledge of Colin's ability to clean a house.
None at all.
I know for a fact that Bradley has spent most of quarantine cleaning
That's true.
his nooks
That's
and
true.
crannies.
That's true.
So right now, he has the skills and he's used them. So in conclusion, Bradley's cleaning our house. Cool. I'll tweet him. Let him know.
So this was the question. This was the criteria that we arbitrarily decided.
It's like, I'm sorry you're lost. It's just life now.
We'll be expecting you 9 a.m. on Thursday.
Bring your own Hoover. Oh, maybe a French maid outfit.
That's
little dust
That's just
things.
for
No.
you, man.
Okay. Have you read Percy Jackson?
I have not.
If so, thoughts?
I have not.
I have not either. I thought you had. Oh, that's disappointing. I thought you were going to be useful here. Have you watched Line of Duty? No.
No.
See how it's quick fire?
Mm-hmm.
If you could only watch one episode of Buffy for the rest of your life, what episode would it be?
Oh, this answer would change depending on the day you asked me it, but at the moment I'm going to say... Ooh.
Yes.
The Prom. That's what I'm saying right now.
That's in my head. I was going to say the prom. Yeah. Well, we just watched it. We just talked about it. We just cried our way through recording. So, yeah, no, it seems kind of unfair to not pick it. And...
Michelle looks a little bit like I can never pronounce the actress's last name, but Mia. What's he? She's got a Polish last name. I cannot pronounce it for the life of me. You know who I mean?
I don't.
Not you.
I never know. Mia flippida blah blah blah.
It's like Wassikoza or something.
What did she do? Who was she in?
Was in
what? Where? How?
She was in Jane Eyre.
I've not seen that. I don't know.
That's the one. Yeah, you are. Mitch looks a little bit like her. Well, she looks a little bit like
Wasikowska.
Yes.
Probably. I mean, I don't know, but
I don't have.
Like.
There's nothing else about her that I think would mean. I don't know. She might be awesome, but like, there's nothing else about her that makes me think that she should play you in the movie of life. But okay, you and she do look a little bit alike. I'll show you a picture.
Okay. Have you read Lore Olympus?
No.
Me neither.
I have no even frame of reference as to what that is.
I don't know. Kate just Instagrammed and asked. I'm sorry, we don't know. We are useless. Who taught me those incredible, amazing baking skills? I'm assuming this is about the royal icing cookies. And actually, these were my first royal icing cookies I made. You know how everyone learned about sourdough last year during the pandemic? We utterly failed to do that. And I only this year decided that I wanted to learn how to do royal icing decorating cookies. So I've been doing that.
Do you know that she is Nicole Kidman?
Okay.
She looks a little like you.
Well, I can see it. I'm okay with that.
Cool.
Mia can blame me. She allowed. Do I cook sweet stuff or savory too? I cook both.
You do cook both.
We both cook both.
Mm.
I mean, we both enjoy cooking, like normal savory food, but baking to me is basically art and it's fun. And quite often I care less about what it tastes like and more how much decorations I can put on it.
Yeah.
And how pretty I can make it.
Yeah. Yeah, Mish.
It also tastes good.
It does taste good, but you do have a slight tendency to make a biscuit that I think is really nice and then cover it in blue fondant, which looks awesome, but does actually detract from the eating of the cookie.
Not if you're Greta.
No. But
she ate an entire box of the iced cookies in like 2 days. Yeah. Has Ruth cooked the funnel cake?
I have not.
Cook funnel cake. I'm not quite up to date on the podcast, so I don't know the answers. Like, no, we do actually discuss it in podcast again. You will find out.
You'll discover that we have not moved on the funnel cake journey.
And yes, that was the cake we discussed. And to be fair, I didn't really know what it was either. It just was the word I reached for when I had to randomly name a cake. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why.
Spin-off wise, I just want Gawain's life. I just want his hijinks. I want all of them.
He could join the Shadow and Bone people on the steampunk heists.
I mean, that'd be fun.
That'd be awesome.
I just his life up till the time that he joins the Knights of the Round Table.
Yep, I would watch that. I would be good with that. Yeah. And I think on that note, we should probably sign off and find some lunch.
Probably. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody.
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you for all of the questions. And all of the... I'm going to have to, like, rewatch this live and just read all of the comments I missed, because at some point there was, like, conversation going on that was separate from what we were waffling about. So I'm going to have to catch up with that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay, last question. Which Shadowhunters character would you ship with Gawain? Maya?
Ooh. Oh, yes. Good. Good. That would be fun.
Nailed it.
Yes. Cool. Okay. Thank you very much for joining us, everyone. And we'll schedule another one of these in at some point soon and come back and talk to you again.
Yes. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Bye-bye.
Bye.